Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to take a look at another brand new addition to the Forza series, which is this HYUNDAI IONIQ 6. To win this car, you have to complete 80 points of the overall festival playlist, which was mathematically possible in the first week in summer, in fact, which not a lot of people realised. But I haven't done kind of more of the playlist than I needed to each week to unlock each new car, so I've only got mine here in the third week in winter season. The IONIQ 6, or as we've been calling it on stream recently, the Ironic 6, is a rather large electric Hyundai, or Hyundai, if the marketing is to be believed. The styling is also rather unique and quite interesting on this vehicle. However, I'm not sure if that's actually a good thing, because apart from the really cool rear light bar, I don't actually like the way this car looks. I do, however, quite like the look of the slightly smaller IONIQ 5, which is kind of more of a hatchback style vehicle. The IONIQ 6 produces 321 horsepower and 605 torques, whilst being electric, weighing in at a quite ridiculous 2,055 kilos. This weight was immediately obvious when I first drove this thing in Rivals in the first week of this month's festival playlist. It is, though, of course, all-wheel drive, and therefore overall rated at B-Class 686 PI here in Forza. For some reason, though, just like the Wuling mini electric macaroon EV thing, when you leave garage or you press drive, you get an engine startup sound, despite it being electric. So I think this is a bit of a glitch that we've got with electric vehicles in Forza at the moment. There is actually quite a large selection of manufacturer colours for this Hyundai. There's black, white, a sort of frosty silver blue, a dark grey, what appears to be purple but actually on the car looks more like a maroony colour. There's a nice green, a red, a beige, and matte grey, which is actually kind of cool. But I think I'm going to leave it in black. There are also advanced painting groups, so if you want to, you can paint the lower section of your car bright pink. Being an EV, though, means, like with most of them here in Forza, there aren't actually many upgrade or customization options other than painting the thing. We can change the motor and battery to give us 417 horsepower. Wow. We can give it Forza Aero, which looks quite horrendous, and whatever that's supposed to be. We could do the usual tyre compounds, tyre widths, and track widths, which I will bring out slightly. Oh wow, that actually makes it quite wide at the back, doesn't it? Quite a lot wider than it was, anyway. There's some drivetrain options as well, and some platform and handling options. But yeah, you can't get more than 417 horsepower out of it, and there's not anything in the way of visual mods. I then went in search of tunes for some Horizon Open racing, but struggled to find anything that looked like it would be any good for B or A class, so I decided to make my own. Putting full weight reduction on the car immediately put it into A class, so I went with an A class build, as well as the weight reduction adding some better brakes, better suspension and some semi-slick tyres, and of course brought the horsepower up to the maximum 417 that this car gets, although that's probably still not really enough for A-Class, particularly when it's quite a heavy car. I then loaded into an A-Class open session, managing to join for the first race of an adventure at the Bolo 8 circuit, and whilst it wasn't exactly great to drive, it did do quite a bit better than I thought it might, particularly around such a tight circuit, eventually finishing in 4th place, which isn't great but is still a lot better than I would have expected for such a heavy lump of a car. The second race was at the Vista Del Mar sprint, where a couple of people left, promoting me to 3rd place out of 5. Forza then decided I missed a checkpoint, even though I don't think I did, but I still just about managed to keep ahead of those 2 other cars. The third and final race was at the Marigold sprint, where there was a lot of death and people leaving, which meant somehow this car got a 2nd place finish, which I really shouldn't have done in this car. That meant it got a podium finish in 2 out of 3 races, and with an improvement of 1 position per race, it should really have won if I did a 4th race, right? I can't really say though that it is a particularly good car for A-Class open racing, but with enough other people leaving, it can place in the top 3. But yeah, B-Class you're going to struggle because you can't get full weight reduction, and as we saw in A-Class you can do okay if people leave, but it's not going to be all that great in general, I don't think. And that is going to do it for a very first look at the HYUNDAI IONIQ 6 here on Forza Horizon 5. Stock, it's a bit of a big boat to drive around. It's not all that great for A-Class Open, and I think you'd struggle to make a good tune for B because it's already quite near the top of that, and it's just going to be too heavy if you try and do that, because weight reduction immediately put it into A. It also doesn't look all that great apart from that kind of cool rear light bar, so there's not really a lot going for this car apart from some interesting painting options and that light bar. But anyway, as ever, do let me know your thoughts on the HYUNDAI IONIQ 6 here in Forza Horizon 5, but for today's video that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next one very soon.